Today's episode, I've got a special guest, Nekita, and she's going to help me talk about something that I'm just learning about recently. National Caribbean American Heritage Month. This is very exciting for me. This is very exciting for Nekita. I think it's very exciting for a lot of people, a lot of Americans of Caribbean heritage descent. One of the things I didn't know was this was started in about 2005 in the U.S. House of Representatives. It got pushed through, and every president since 2005 has ratified this proclamation, the month of June, as National Caribbean American Heritage Month. So from 2005 till 2019, us Caribbeans of Caribbean descent, I should say, Caribbean Americans, have something to celebrate. Now, Nekita, can you please introduce yourself and let's talk a little bit about where the Caribbean is, because a lot of people don't really understand it.
Okay, thank you, John. I want to say thank you for inviting me again tonight, and I'm very happy to talk about the Caribbean because, as you just said, this is the Caribbean National Heritage Month. But where is the Caribbean? So this is a body of islands that is between the North Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf of Mexico, and you go down to South America, Venezuela, Central America. So you see the map here?
Yes, I see it.
So in between there. And so what I always refer to myself to, I'm close to Florida. So when I'm in if you are in the Bahamas, in Cuba, so you are closer, in Haiti, you are closer like an hour from Florida. And then those islands, the lesser islands, so they are closer to South America. But we can even talk, we can have another topic. I remember that I had to write a paper. I wrote a paper on the Caribbean. What is geographically? So we're looking at the geography of the Caribbean, but perception. So what do people perceive as Caribbean? When they talk about Cuba, they don't refer to Cuba as the Caribbean. We know it's physically there, but it seems like it's a separate country. You have Haiti.
Yes.
Haiti is a separate country. Perception is a separate country. So we even had a Haitian Heritage Month last January. Puerto Rico, so do they refer to themselves as Caribbeans?
Well,
and another one was Indians.
Some of the controversy is literally political.
Yes, okay.
Okay, some of these islands are countries. Some of these islands are territories, like of the U.S. or of the British, and some of these are not even considered Caribbean islands. They're considered, like for instance, I forget which ones, some of these are considered, like for instance, France.
France, Martinique and Guadeloupe, they are French territories.
Yeah, so they're kind of sort of not considered the Caribbean, which is weird because they're physically in the Caribbean.
Yes, in the Caribbean, but some places, they have even added sometimes Colombia.
Yes.
So they've added, but I don't see any. Belize seems to be.
Yeah, in Honduras sometimes.
Yes.
Some people consider Honduras, yes, no. Well.
Yeah, Belize, I think they consider Belize as I used to think that Belize is the Caribbean.
Yeah.
But it's not Guatemala.
So on this particular map, why is Panama sort of the Caribbean, but Nicaragua isn't? And it's in between?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's weird, a lot of it's political.
Yes, so let's say, we have what I've learned in school, we have the Greater Antilles.
Yes, the Greater Antilles, I believe, is up here.
Up here, the Hispaniola, which is Haiti, Cuba, and Haiti and Dominican Republic. Cuba, Jamaica is the Greater Antilles.
Yes,
Jamaica is right here. And Puerto Rico is the Greater Antilles, are the big ones.
And then you have the Lesser Antilles Islands.
Lesser Antilles, no.
And there's another designation called the Leeward Islands.
Okay.
Depending on whether they're facing the Atlantic more or the Caribbean more. There's all sorts of weird geographical, political ways they break it up. Greater Antilles, Lesser Antilles, blah, blah, blah. But that's getting in the weeds. A lot of people don't really know that much.
Yes, yes.
You know, what I find interesting is in the early 20th century, we had a good deal of migration to the
Yes.
United States.
Yes.
And I don't know why, I don't know some of the history. Could you explain some of that?
I don't know. You know, sometimes people leave, because of most of the time it's economic reasons. So I think that's they want to have a better life in the U.S. So that's the
Well,
that's what we know.
I
Generally,
can talk to that
that's why
specifically.
people leave.
That's why my parents came here.
Yes.
You know, there was no work in Trinidad
Mm-hmm.
for my father,
Yes.
so a company sponsored him
I see.
to come to Boston. Oh, this cold place,
Mhm.
Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he got sponsored, and he came here, and eventually, you know, he got his green card or whatever, and he
Yeah.
sponsored my mother,
I see.
and then, you know, they got work, and they were able to support themselves, and then he brought myself and my brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
We were all born in Trinidad,
Yes.
brought us all here.
Yes. So let's go back. Let's go back to. So this is the.
One
Let's
of
go back to
one,
migration. Let's go back to immigration.
okay,
Okay, so we have at the turn of the 20th century, so
Yes.
we're talking about the 1900, 1910.
yes.
And that's when we have a lot of Caribbeans from Boston coming to Boston too.
Yes,
We have Elma Lewis, born in
yes,
1921. She's an arts educator, so she's very well known in the Boston area. We had the parents of Shirley Chisholm, so
Ah.
probably we're gonna see those
That-
names.
so
So
we're
the
gonna see
migration
those
started
names.
the current migration started in the 1900s, but you know, remember the Caribbeans, they were like territories, colonies of British. So the British will have their
Yeah, yes.
slaves come here too in the 1700s.
Mhm.
And then we know that the slaves started going to the Caribbean prior coming to the US. So they were coming to the Caribbean in the 1500s, at 1501, 1500. Whereas in the US, they came to West Virginia, to Virginia in 1610. So a century prior, so slaves were going to the Caribbean. So when the British or the Pilgrims came here, they continued their trade with the Caribbean, bringing their slaves to Medford, to Boston, to the Boston area. There's a whole group of Caribbean and West Indians and New England connections. So remember, the slaves were going to the Caribbean first. So giving other European territories, colonized, whatever you want to call it, so they will bring their slaves here too. And then there were products like coffee, cocoa, sugar from the Caribbean. They would have them here too. So there's a whole
A whole back and
commerce exchange, if you may, between the Caribbean and the U.S., particularly the North Carolinas, New England area. That's when I studied the most because I live in New England. I know the New England area.
I think I lived some of that.
Yes.
Because what I've talked about in previous shows
Yes.
is I had a genetics report done on myself, and I found out over the centuries that for whatever reason I'm about 7% Scottish, Irish, and Wales,
Yes.
which is significant.
Yes.
You know, part Azabakanazi Jewish, a little bit of Swedish.
Yes.
You know, so there must have been a lot of intermingling, you know, from the slave trade, because my primary genetic background is the Congo in West Africa.
Yes. Yes.
But then you have a lot of European
Yes.
influences, you
Yeah,
know,
I do see.
which I found in my genetic background.
Suriname there's a Jewish synagogue in Suriname. Haiti had a Jewish synagogue.
Mm-hmm.
Haiti has the whole Jewish presence. As a matter of fact, that's why the Catholics started having Catholic schools, because somewhere in Jeremy, the Jews they had their own school, but I think they have destroyed that had been raised so they could put the Catholic schools there. So there's a whole history of Jews in Haiti.
Yeah. I think based on my genetic report, it's coming out of Central Africa.
Yes.
Because what I didn't know is that there's apparently Jewish tribes in Central Africa, not Northern Africa.
Yes.
You know, a lot of ancient black Jewish tribes.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're still out there.
Yes.
Well, speaking of which, we have this random list
Okay.
of people of Haitian descent, well-known Americans of Caribbean descent, I should
Yes,
say.
yes, we have a lot of.
And you notice it's all over the map.
Yes.
People
yes.
you wouldn't even think.
Yes, yes.
People from Bahamas,
Yes.
Trinidad, Cuba,
Oh.
wherever.
Yes, of Caribbean descent. Let's say like Crispus Attucks.
Crispus Attucks.
Yes, he was the first American to die in a Revolutionary War.
That's
so in other
right.
words, he was the first to die, the Boston Massacre.
Mhm.
So he was the first to die for the American Revolution, in the American Revolution. So his parents are from Barbados or from the West Indies.
A lot of
So
people
these
don't
are all those
realize.
historical people we have in.
A lot of people don't realize how important
Yes,
Caribbean Americans are to the history
yeah.
of this country.
Yes, yes, yes.
Speaking of which,
Yes.
probably a lot of people didn't know that some of the founders of the NAACP were Haitian descent.
Yes, W.B. Du Bois. So his
I
father.
didn't know that.
Yeah, his father was Haitian, Alfred Du Bois. So I do have a whole slide of Haiti. So that's why we say sometimes like perception. So Haiti itself, has a whole history,
Mhm.
in the Caribbean as being the first Black Republic. So we can talk, if we have to talk about the Caribbean, so we can put Haiti separately because Haiti speaks another language.
Mhm.
So you have like English and Spanish. So the countries that speak French, we saw them here, Martinique and Guadeloupe, but somehow it seems that they're not connected with Haiti. But,
Well, I think.
they are you have St. Lucia speaks Creole,
Yeah.
Trinidad used to speak Creole, the elders would speak Creole because they were French colonies.
Yeah.
So Trinidad used to. So it's look at Grenada. So there is even though we speak Martinique and Guadeloupe and Dominica speak Creole.
Right now, most of the family that I'm still connected with in the Caribbean is in Dominica now.
Mm-hmm.
On
They do speak Creole.
they speak Creole,
Yes.
English and Creole.
Yes. They do.
And my family still has a lot of land, and
Mhm.
mother has a couple of homes there,
Mhm.
and we visit every chance we get in Dominica. I don't have so much connection to Trinidad anymore.
I see.
Most of my close relatives
Yes.
from Trinidad are either in Florida,
Mhm.
somewhere on the west coast of America,
I see.
or in Britain.
Okay. So you have relatives all over.
Yeah.
So mine are here. They are in Boston, in New York, New Jersey. So I have extended relatives in Haiti, but they've died. I mean, most of my people, they've died. So now it's like my current generation, the elders. I do have an uncle who's 101. He turned
Wow.
101. So he's the only one left, like from the previous generation. Otherwise, so I'm the next generation. That's why we put it. So my generation is the next. But my mother died, everybody had died. So I only have one uncle who was 101.
Wow.
So,
Well, that's a lot of information.
okay.
And what we'd like to tell people is that going forward, we want to try and get more exposure for Caribbean American Heritage Month. There are a lot of issues, there are a lot of history, there are a lot of good things.
Yes,
A lot of good things coming out of people of Caribbean American heritage descent.
yes. Let's put some of the names again. So when
You wanna
people
look at some
see
of the
them,
names?
so the way I phrase it is that we are immigrants, but
Yes.
we've been here. Look
That's
at that.
right.
Yeah, we've been here.
We've been here.
Crispus Attucks died in the Revolutionary War, the Boston Massacre. His
Mhm.
body is at the Granary Cemetery, downtown Boston. So even though we see ourselves as immigrants, but we've been here as what I say, as long as the Pilgrims. So they had, even though we came as slaves, but we've been here in Medford, 1638. So we're not immigrants. So we are part of the fabric of the United States.
Yeah. A
Shirley
lot.
Chisholm, the first
Mhm.
Black to be elected in Congress. So her parents are from the Caribbean, and Ayanna Presley is occupying a room, the same space, the same room that she had.
Nice.
That's where Ayanna Presley is.
You know who one of my early
Beyonce, Denzel Washington, Sidney Poitier.
You know who one of my early favorites were who helped influence me? Sidney Poitier.
Yes, yeah.
I didn't know why. He was always a role model to look up to. He was always strong. He was
Yes.
always confident.
Yes.
And that's what I got from seeing the movies.
Yes, so he's one of the few that has like a more prominent role in the movie. So most of the black artists, actors, they will put them more in a subservient role in the movies.
he was more of a commanding figure.
Yes, he was.
He
The
was his
others
own.
were not. Most of them.
He was his own person.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
I admired that.
Yeah, I did too.
You know, the little black kid growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to be just like him,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Tibbs. Oh well.
So in Malden, so let's go back to Malden. So we do have a significant number of West Indians, of people from the Caribbean. I would say most of the
Yes.
blacks here. There are not too many African Americans. So most of the blacks here, are from Haiti, from Trinidad, from other parts of the Caribbean. So they do have African Americans, but I know Haitians who've been here since 1955. I know this, you go to church, his sisters came in 1955 in Malden. So there's a whole generation.
I have the impression
Population
the
of-
largest population of Caribbean Americans happens to be Haitian.
Yes.
Is that in this town? Is that right?
Yes, it is. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So we have about 11,000 blacks. So I would say 6,000-7,000 are Haitian.
Mm.
Yeah, most of the blacks are Haitian, and then you have Caribbean like Barbados, Trinidad. The other.
A smattering. Oh,
yes,
like me.
yes, but most of them are Haitian.
Mm.
And talking about Haitian, we just lost his funeral was today. The Haitian 5-year-old who drowned up there near Forest there, that Western Road,
that's
that
sad.
area there. So
That's
his
sad.
funeral was today. I think it was 2011. Another kid died.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to have the kids. They have to take swimming classes. So a lot of black kids are not taking swimming lessons.
Well, you know what I did
They do
when
to take swimming.
when I started having children. My wife and I insisted
Mm-hmm.
put our children in the pool, make sure they got swimming lessons.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And at first they rebelled, like, oh, why do I have to learn how to swim? And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
My first child, as soon as she hit like the age of 12, guess what happened? One of her girlfriends invited her to a pool party,
Mm-hmm.
and it made such a difference that she knew how to swim.
Yes.
And some of the other little girls in town couldn't get in the swimming pool because they couldn't swim.
Yes. Yeah.
And then the light bulb went on in my daughter's head.
Uh-huh.
You know what? Maybe it's a good thing Mom and Dad pushed them.
Yes. Yeah.
Because when I was a child growing up, it never occurred to me not to swim. Because I grew up on an island.
Yeah. I
There's
didn't
nowhere
know
to
that.
go. There's nothing to do
Yes.
except jump in the sea and swim.
That's it. That's it.
It's a different.
Yeah.
It's different here, but
Yeah.
as parents, you have to make an effort.
Yes.
But let's close out this episode.
Yes.
Nikita and I had a wonderful time talking, and hopefully we helped explain to people that Caribbean Heritage Month is a wonderful time, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about it more in the future and get people involved more. We're Americans, but we're Americans of Caribbean descent.
Yes. There are a lot of activities going on this month, and then Haitians did them too. Haitians, they had parades. I think the other Caribbeans, they had Caribbean flag raising.
Yeah, I heard about that.
They're
In
gonna have one in
Cambridge?
Randolph. No, Cambridge had dinner, and they had the calypso.
Mhm.
Yeah, the steel drum. Yeah, in front of City Hall. It was so nice. They had the
Oh,
steel drum
I
playing
miss steel
in
drums.
front of City Hall, and they had some like a reception
Mhm.
at City Hall. I think one of those days we need to do something in Malden. To
You're reading my mind.
Yes.
I would love to.
Randolph is gonna have a flag raising, so they had I went to a Caribbean woman gathering at the Seaport Center.
Maybe in
somewhere
the
Seaport.
future,
Yeah.
if we could arrange some sort of Caribbean festival here in Malden,
Yeah.
I'd love to do it.
In Everett, they did March. There's a welcome in September.
Mhm.
The football. How do you call that?
Cricket?
No, football. Like in September, mid-September.
Mm.
Okay. But anyway, there's a parade in Everett, so they did have the calypso, the steel
Oh,
drum.
come on.
The
If
steel drum in the parade.
If Everett can do it, we can do it too.
Yeah,
Come on,
maybe,
Malden.
one
Let's
of the
think
parades.
about it.
One of the parades.
Let's
You
think
know,
about
we can
it.
walk in we can march in one of the parades. Yeah, they did.
We can do something.
Yes,
If Everett
okay.
can do it,
Homecoming.
we can.
Homecoming. That's the one. Homecoming for the football. Homecoming.
we'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll do something.
All right.
Okay, well, thank you for listening in today.
Thank you, everyone.
And good night. And watch out for the next episode. We'll be talking about all sorts of other fun things. Thank you.
All right.